Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
There we go. We're good now. So everyone's spoken. So based on what I'm hearing, I'm going to, usually a motion has already been put out and seconded, but I'm going to entertain a motion to reduce the proposed Board of Education budget by $200,000 and reduce the proposed town budget by $100,000.
So moved.
Second.
Further comments? Questions? Otherwise, I will call I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Now we get to the revenue. So, again, we've been mentioning the revenue. The budgets are going to go forward to the town. The revenue is something that we have the ability to adjust, really, to reduce the mill rate and the tax increase. And I think in looking at the numbers, interest income, so we've heard interest income, building permits, EMS revenue, and I think we would all agree that there is room definitely in interest income. I don't know how much room is in the others, but we've been hearing our first selectman talk about those, and Mary Jane. I was looking at, and input now from everyone else, I was looking at about a 350 on the revenue side. And I was thinking of interest income at 250. I was thinking increasing to $250,000 to $1 million. Until I heard building permits in the comments our first selectman made, I was thinking about going from 750 to going to 825. But I'm hearing flat, and and I'll finish my thoughts. And then EMS revenue, we're not talking about much. I was thinking about, on that one, going from 925 to 950, which would be the 350. There's another line item that, and Mary Jane, you might, maybe not discuss, but I know that one of them was other state grants. That seems to be very much skewed. It's the same numbers last year, but we had a projected revenue $1 million more. It's my understanding, just from a discussion I had with you earlier, that that is one-time revenue sources that were coming. We don't expect those. I think one of them was the car tax, and one of them, at least one of them, was the state tax distribution.
Right, so there are three areas where we received additional funding. The first was the motor vehicle transition money. That was, if you remember, a couple of budgets ago, we had a lower mill rate for car taxes because we had hit the cap. The state is trying to make us whole for that, so it's a one-time that we received. The next, in our revenue sharing grant, we actually received $160,000 more than we were initially told we were going to get. Again, one time. And the last and largest was $558,000, which is the sales tax diversion grant. I spoke with contacts at CCM and many of the GFOA board today. There's not a single person who believes we're going to get that money in this coming year, or at least no one is willing to budget for it. It is not a guarantee. The governor is looking to take it off the table. At the moment, it was a one-time allocation in the current fiscal year. So those three items together come up to $953,000. That's the $1 million difference in the current year.
Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, please.
You're coming up with some of these numbers, but I think it might be important that our first selectman and the finance director concur with you about the revenue projections.
Well, I'm going based on the numbers I'm seeing here and the discussions we've been having this evening. Mr. Hartman's been asking questions. I'm not, this has got to go to vote. I'm just bringing up my recommendations,
No,
suggestions.
I'm glad you are. I just
Because
wanted to make sure they concur.
Because what I could,
You asked
I'm going to be asking for input on where maybe it's not 350, maybe it's 300, right? And that's fine. But maybe someone on this board, it feels a little bit less conservative, going from 750 and going to 1.05 million. And that's another, here's what happens if we don't hit the revenue number, which there are times that we don't have the discussion and we don't have the ability or the flexibility or opportunity to talk about revenue. It's like we just approve it. If we had to and we didn't hit the numbers, there's an unassigned fund balance. However, using that is always a dangerous perspective. But if we feel that there's room, then I'm just suggesting I'm a little bit different now about the building permits based on what I'm hearing is flat. So, yeah, I'd love to see 350, but maybe this board agrees that maybe we shouldn't go that less conservative, let's say, because the town did the right thing in looking at these numbers saying, we just want to be careful. If we get more risky, that's fine, but we just need to own it later and say, we're trying to offset the increase, we're trying to bring the mill rate down a little bit more, and then see how it pans out. But again, we've got to be confident, and we have to, for the most part, we have to majority agree on it, so that's why I'm opening it up to everybody.
Yep.
Yes, please.
Just one cautionary note.
Please.
The building, between the building revenues, if you keep those flat or go up a nominal amount, okay, that's based on historical data and where they are today in their budget for fiscal year 23-24.
Right.
Same thing with EMS. Where you run a risk of going to 250 is that's interest rate sensitive. Mm-hmm. All right? And you could very well find yourself in a position next year at this table where you're going to say, oh, we're only going to get 750 in interest income because the rates have dropped over that period of time. Then you're looking for $250,000 in revenue to fill a hole. So
it's a bigger gap.
That was in my mind's eye. That would tend to have me go a little bit more conservative on the interest income for that purpose, because otherwise you may find yourself in a hole next year.
Good point.
If you don't mind, I agree. Today, the Fed chair said they're getting close. They're beginning to get closer than ever to cutting. Stock market hit new highs today as a result. It's feeling kind of frothy out there. If it tips the other way or the election goes screwy, you could see rates tumble. And, we're not able to go out 2 years, 3 years, 5 years and count on that. We're 3 and 6 months, I take it. So I just wouldn't count on it. It could turn on a dime.
Any other comments regarding that as far as what to look at in terms of increases? Maybe, go ahead.
Based on what I
Joe.
heard tonight about the building permits, I wouldn't be comfortable adjusting that figure from what's been presented. I was hopeful that we may be able to increase that line, but it doesn't sound like that would be the prudent thing to do. Interest income, again, it could change, but if we're confident we could get to $1 million, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'd have to, Mary Jane, I know you've got the spreadsheet, and so you could tell us what the numbers would be depending on which way we go. If we,
Problem is my computer keeps locking up. I have to,
Okay.
for some reason, I'm rebooting like every 5 minutes, so
That-
I had it up and.
Is that a budget item?
It's part of the idea, yeah, exactly.
Mary Jane, is it safe to say that with the cuts you've proposed, you're going to take the tax increase down to 4.04%?
that sounds about where it would be
Right.
with just the reductions.
Just these reductions
Right.
were at my 3.4.
If we
The
were
overall
to-
tax, the overall increase is only.
Yeah.
3.
And which
the
makes the
is
tax,
4.
yeah. So the overall increase would be 3.9% in your spending, and it drops your tax increase percentage to 4.04.
That's just,
Anything-
I'm sorry.
That's just with the cuts.
Just the reduction. So if we were to find, instead of 350, which I threw out there before, if we were to go 250 and go 250 with the interest income, again, we get that, we get the increase.
Deductions.
Couldn't you still do the EMS?
Well, how,
If you're
We-
only going from 925 to 950.
At 250, it drops to 3.8% tax increase.
And 3.77% overall increase.
I'm good with that.
and, go ahead, Jeff. I think
How
you're
confident are we with
EMS.
getting?
It's fine.
With the interest income?
Stop at 250 on that increase.
EMS, I thought you had said to go to 9.
EMS to hit, I mean, it's 25,000 to go to what the projected revenue is this year. So it's not an awful lot. And building permits, I think we're
It's something.
we're in agreement.
I think we're
Building permits, we shouldn't touch. Yes, please.
Go to specifically where, you know, the building permits of this much, EMS of this, if you say you need 250,000, you need to increase it by $250,000, we can get that done for you guys. We'll do that. If you want to give us that flexibility,
them a
rather than
number
you
and
guys
then
have to
put it
make
where
that
they want
decision.
It would clearly be in those areas.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, we could put, and again, just for motion purposes to move it for, you know, if we went 300 and went 250 and then 25, 25,
Yeah.
and then you, just, again, hypothetically, but let them,
Yeah.
so we look for 300.
Oh, this is just ballpark components.
It's all,
Bottom line
right.
is what matters.
And God forbid,
So 300
you know, things
is
don't
revenue
pan out
for
exactly,
3.1.
then we've got a resource.
Hold on.
300.
Probably be around 3.77, 6?
I got doing it down here because I put my revenue.
Inflation is 3.1? Inflation is 3.1 as of January.
As of now, yeah. And 3.4 at the end of last year. 3.76.
Mill rate increase. Tax
I mean, that's, listen, it's under 4, but I don't know.
Not,
I-
not,
Can't find it
not way out
anymore.
of whack with the social security increase that was granted for this year at 3.2%, right?
Yeah, inflation is 3.1.
Inflation's running pretty,
If we wanted to get there, we'd have to find, and we're not, and we've done our, you know, the budget work is done. We'd have to find another $400,000 to get to the 3.4, 3.3 number. It's not there. But we got 300, I think.
Well, it's there if you want to use unassigned fund balance, and
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of that.
No, no.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
No, I'm not suggesting we do that. I'm just saying
I
we'd
know
have to,
you're
we'd
not.
have to.
I'm just
We'd have
saying.
to find
Yeah.
that. I'm not finding an unassigned fund balance, and there's nowhere else to find it here, so. Right. So let me, seeing that we don't have to do line item, I'm gonna make a motion to revise the proposed revenue budget to increase the budget, the revenue budget by $300,000. That's my entertaining, that's the motion I'd entertain. 300.
So moved.
Any further discussion on that?
Just to be clear, Mary Jane, you agree that we can increase the forecast to that much?
We're confident in that.
Well, we're confident in that. She's gonna do what we ask her to
Yeah,
do.
True,
Yes.
true,
But I think
but
it-
I want
but-
to know what her feelings are.
I would love to say, Jonathan, I could double my interest this time, but I'm not sure I can do that.
I'm comfortable with the 300,000 increase.
We can make that work,
well, yeah.
yes.
Okay.
I can see a yard sale
I'm
coming.
in agreement. I think she's the
Why
best
don't you-
person in this room
Keep
to
an eye on that
predict
first
our revenue.
selectman budget. Keep an eye on that selectman budget.
Keeping an eye on the vehicles, I want to fire engine.
You're selling the fire truck, right?
$2 million.
Megan.
I will,
They get the best parking spots.
I will call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Great. We have one more. We have a before I put it in the form of motion, the Board of Education is requesting $2,452,080 for capital bonding. That's their request. I had mentioned the 4 projects and basically one item of services that go along with that. So I'm going to go ahead and entertain a motion to approve that request totaling $2,452,080 to be forwarded to bond counsel.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion,
I have a question.
questions?
If bond counsel comes back with weird wording, like I'm concerned about the word repeaters being on the ballot. People are not gonna necessarily, the general public are not gonna know what cell phone repeaters are. So is there,
Somebody has to give me different language, because that's what I'm giving him.
yes,
No, that's a really good point, because,
and I bring it up because I've been on this board and other boards long enough to remember the snowplow fiasco.
yes.
Could I,
It's Linda's remember, you know,
could I
so
amend
that's
my
my
motion?
concern, is that the wording has to be,
Could I amend the motion?
You, please, if you'd
I'll
like to.
amend the motion so that the line that says GHS, AMS, BMS hyphen cell repeaters be GHS, AMS, BMS technology improvements.
I'm not sure about that.
I would rather,
Less
I-
specific.
Why don't you let us work with
I
bond
would,
counsel?
I appreciate the fact that you're trying to generalize it a little bit more, but I think it should probably go through Cliff and bond counsel to make sure the wording is right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I amend it further.
You're right. The less specific, the better, because it also provides us with flexibility down the road.
Yeah.
But it has to be specific enough that the voters aren't saying, why am I paying $500,000
Yeah,
for
yeah.
vagueness? So,
Okay.
find that
All right,
balance.
so we're gonna keep the motion as is,
Okay.
all right? And
I withdraw my
would
amendment.
you withdraw your amendment? So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So I would just comment that I feel like the repeaters and fiber network upgrade are sort of nice to have instead of urgent. I would kind of recommend that we wait on those,
Okay,
would be my comment.
entitled to opinion on that one. Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Item number 3, we got there. Public forum. At this time, I'd like to move forward with public forum and ask anyone wishing to address the Board of Finance to raise your physical hand here in the audience or virtual hand on Zoom, and we'll unmute you. Again, please state your name, address, and limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the Board of Finance in public forum? Okay. Going, gone. Unless I missed a hand. I did not. So I want to close the meeting, but, based on the Board of Finance actions tonight, there will not be a meeting required for Monday night. So workshop number 2 will not be occurring. On behalf of the board, usually do this, but I want to thank First Selectman, Board of Selectmen, Superintendent Dr. Paul Freeman, Board of Education Chairwoman Dr. Katie Balstracy, the entire Board of Education, and as I had indicated in the first meeting, all of the town school administration and staff, the department heads, and literally hundreds of volunteers that serve on the boards and commissions that then go to the department heads and provide these budgets over many, many months. I want to thank my colleagues. We understand this is our busy time, lots of long hours of review, lots of questions, lots of preparation, meetings, hearings, multiple Board of Education, Board of Selectmen meetings, and workshops. So your time, your effort, and your sacrifice are truly appreciated by everyone in this community. To those in attendance, Tuesday night and tonight, both in person and virtually, want to, or actually also all those who will watch this meeting at a later date, most likely. Thank you for your involvement and your participation. It is truly appreciated that you all come out and you all listen and you all participate. That's the whole reason why we do this, and receive input and learn about how the tax dollars are spent and what goes into these budgets. As we all know, the process is not complete yet, so, as a reminder, the annual budget meeting will be on Tuesday, April 2nd, in person at 7:30 PM. I believe it will be at the Guilford High School Auditorium. The annual budget referendum will be held on Tuesday, April 16th, from 6 AM to 8 PM at all polling locations. Please be sure to place these dates in your calendar and exercise your right to vote. As I say every year, the annual budget vote is the one vote that directly affects your household more than probably any other. Any other comments? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm freezing.